wanted to bring up. This meeting is being live streamed, so it's great. One thing I want to bring up. So yesterday we had a great visit from Special Secretary for Maryland Opioid Response, Emily Keller, come visit the Penn North Enoch Pratt Free Library to specifically check out the Peer Navigators program. And I gotta tell you, it was really beautiful. Emily Keller is someone who she had been the mayor of Hagerstown, and her whole political career, she really made off of this one issue around substance use disorder. And she told this story about her best friend who had struggled with substance misuse, and who, when Emily was like, I think I want to go into politics, and like really, push on this, was like, you shouldn't do that. Like, you got too big of a mouth. You would piss everybody off. And she was like, no, no, no. I think it's a good thing. I think I should do it. And then her friend supported her. And Emily ended up winning her primary for city council of Hagerstown in 2016. And then her best friend passed away from a overdose. And she talked about how for her, it's about upholding her friend's legacy and how she does this work. And so in 2016, she won her election. She got to be mayor in 2020, one for the whole city. And then a couple of, I guess, weeks ago, or maybe like a month and a half ago, Governor Moore snatched her up to be their special secretary for opioid response. And so she came to check out what we've been doing over at Enoch Pratt. And it was really, really, really beautiful. Donna and Tiffany and Heidi, who's the head of the library system, presented, and we heard from some of the peers and also from a gentleman who has been utilizing the services that one of the peers has been providing. And, all that to say, it was just really special. And we left with a commitment from Secretary Keller that she wants to expand this program across the state and get it over there in Hagerstown, where she used to live, and get it on the Eastern Shore. We had some friends from the Eastern Shore come and join us. So all that to be said, really gratifying moment, because, I think, again, a lot of times people think from other parts of the state, think about Baltimore, and it's just chaos and confusion and, this problem and that problem. But to have the special secretary there saying that, this program that we're doing is extremely innovative and something that she wants to replicate across Maryland, I thought was really powerful, and further validation that regardless of what anyone on TV says, Baltimore is the best city in America, and we should all be really proud to be from here and to get to do this kind of work, and get to do it with each other. And so with that, I think Donna's on the call, and wanted to see, Donna, just if you want to share just like a quick reflection on yesterday.
I honestly think, hi everyone, good afternoon. It's so beautiful outside. I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one driving and can still hear. So I am safe though. I'm using my Bluetooth. Yesterday was just, Zeke summed it up. It was just very powerful. It was very edifying just to see the work that we're doing on the task force in Healing City, how it's unfolding in real life, and it's effective. As he said, Secretary Keller was really down to earth, and she expressed, about her best friend, and it just made it more personable that we had someone in the room in position to further this program who had lived experience with her own personal unfortunate death of her best friend. And even persons coming all the way from Cambridge just to see the program and the live person that we had, not live person, but the the testimonial of the patron. It was just so authentic. Everything was just so authentic. It was just so real, and it was moving. You guys would have been proud of the work that's being done, because we all have our different departments that we're working in, or different sections that we're working on. But when we all come back together and just be able to report back that it's working, it's powerful. So with that, we have 7 branches, and we're looking to expand to Cambridge or wherever else this model may take us, because it's definitely a model that's working. So yeah, that's all I have. I will keep training and showing up, and y'all just keep supporting and showing up as well. So yeah,
and
you covered it.
I just have to give huge props to Donna, who was awesome as always, but just very real. Did a number of interviews with some of the media folks, and hey Donna, mute your phone. And
I'm in Baltimore. You hear the dirt bike? It's Baltimore.
Yeah, I hear it. We definitely hear it. It was just very, very, very real, but also, it's really good work, and we got to make sure folks in the media are telling this story, and we got to make sure folks from other parts of the state understand it. And look, I said this yesterday, but I just feel like we live in a city where everybody at the end of the year knows how many people we lost to homicide. They'll know the exact number, but very few people know that we lose probably 3 times as many folks to overdose deaths. Last year, we lost 940 people of our neighbors. Just recently, we lost a 2-year-old child to fentanyl poisoning. And it's just a devastating disease that is killing so many of our community members. And so the efforts that folks are putting out there, and just the really grassroots community-based approach that we're seeing is awesome, and I'm excited. And the last thing I'll say, the really good thing is that there's this opioid restitution fund that Maryland and Baltimore have gotten a lot of money from, and this is from the pharmaceutical companies and like the Sackler family and all these class action lawsuits that are going to enable us to be able to scale really good work like what we're doing with the peer navigators. So with that, unless Fariha or Phil or anyone else wanted to chime in who was there, otherwise I'll keep it moving.
I don't know if Franny wanted, but we do have a clip, a short clip from one of the news stations. I don't know if Franny wanted to show it now. We can do that and then move on.
I did find it. I got it, and I can show it if I can figure out how to share my screen.
While Franny's figuring
if not, I can do it.
I was going to say, while Franny's figuring out how to put it up on the screen, I just wanted to share my reflections from, going to the Enoch Pratt Library earlier this week. Honestly, it was just a really, really incredible opportunity for Secretary Keller to come in and see the work that we're doing across Baltimore. I'm just so proud of Donna and Tiffany and so many people from our task force who've supported this initiative. And it was just really clear to see the coordinated and thoughtful coordination of resources going into this effort. Even Secretary Keller was talking about how this is a wonderful model, and she's going to email the Hagerstown Library System and get it up and running there. So I think there's just a lot of opportunities for surrounding, jurisdictions to look at what we're doing in Baltimore City, and it'll change the narrative for Baltimore City for once. Oftentimes they look at us as like a deficit approach. And I think like this event really showed all the wonderful things, all the asset-based strengths that Baltimore City has.
Yeah, that was really well said, Fariha. Okay, let me know if you don't hear this, because there's a good chance that you won't.
Over 900 deaths related to opioid overdoses in 1 year. That's 3 times the number of shooting deaths. WMAR-2 News' Janae Wright looks at one group whose mission is to reduce that number.
Over the past 10 years, the number of overdoses in Baltimore has more than doubled, mainly due to opioids.
You come in this branch every day.
The Maryland Peer Advisory Council is an organization that provides training services to people who want to help. Councilman Zeke Cohen, who is also the Healing City Baltimore's co-founder, says he is proud more is being done to reduce the number of deaths.
We want to be a place where we allow shame and stigma to keep people hidden in the shadows while they are literally dying from a disease? Or do we have the courage to say enough is enough?
Programs are being geared around mental health and substance.
The role that peer navigators play is to comfort those suffering with mental health issues and substance abuse. With opioid-related deaths 3 times the number of homicides in Baltimore, the Peer Navigator program is working hard to decrease the numbers.
Peers across the state are trained as peer recovery coaches. They receive the necessary tools for certification. They're placed in organizations throughout Baltimore City and across the state of Maryland.
Reach another person with this.
Donna Bruce is a registered peer supervisor with the Enoch Pratt Library, one of the 7 libraries peer navigators are stationed at. She has a personal connection to the cause.
Almost a year and a half ago, my son was found unresponsive in his vehicle on Retreat Street. He suffered with mental health and substance. I suffer with mental health and substance misuse. Unfortunately, my son fell to his disease. So when they asked me to come into the library, I said they have lost their mind. I'm still grieving. But once I got into the library and I was able to literally bring someone back with a Narcan from an overdose, he was a young person, I said, this is where I belong.
Donna says that it is important these services are accessible to the public so people in every community can get the help they need.
I know my son is proud of me. And he didn't die in vain. So each person that I help, I'm doing it for my son.
The Peer Advisory Council's next goal is to expand the program to all library branches in the Baltimore area. Janae Wright, WMAR-2 News.
Awesome. I saw Phil's live stream at the end of that. Cool.
Yeah, big ups to Donna. Just a lot of courage and vulnerability. Really powerful stuff. And, also want to just, make a quick note. I also really actually appreciated that reporter, Janae Wright, who really kind of wanted to know what was going on. A lot of times, especially with the TV news folks, you're looking for a 1 minute, really quick soundbite clip. But she spent pretty much the whole day working on that story and asked really thoughtful questions and clearly wanted to understand it. And you just don't always get that with TV news. So wanted to shout her out as well. But it really came together. And even though that clip didn't have Secretary Keller in it, a couple of the other ones did. And, she was just awesome. I mean, she's a tough cookie, and she's spitfire and no BS and not pretentious at all. And so just an absolute pleasure to have her there. And again, really proud of the work that folks are doing. All right. So with that, I think it is now, unless there are any general announcements for the good of the order, I think we're going to go into our groups. And to Fariha's point, Donna, don't forget us when you're famous. I see Nika, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I do. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to announce that on this coming Saturday, which is March 19th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Lexington Market in the Lexington Room, the SOS Fund is having one of 4 housing clinics that we're hosting to support resident housing stability throughout the spring, but particularly in this tax sale season. And folks that are having any kind of housing related issue, from, you know, eviction assistance to property tax credits to, you know, maybe needing disability rails or, you know, grab bars, can come to that clinic and get linked up with the services they need. And I'll share, I'll send the flyer, and folks can feel free to share it with their networks.
Awesome. Also, quick reminder, this Saturday, Healing City Summit, 10 to 2 at Coppin. So hop over to Coppin, come say hey, and then go to Nika's clinic. And Nika, do you want to give just like a quick legislative update? I know you've been doing a lot with laws in Annapolis. You want to just give us a quick update on what's been going on over there?
Sure. Oh, wait a minute, my computer's being funny. Sure. So long and short of it, over the last several years, advocates have been pushing, particularly surrounding tax sale reform. And last year, I think the mayor created the tax sale working group. And so through the tax sale working group, a number
Wait, hang on, pause real quick. Just for folks that don't know, could you explain tax sale?
Sure.
Sorry.
The simplest way to put it is, if you don't pay your property taxes or some other lienable municipal bills, your debt can be sold to a third party who can collect it and collect interest, fees, penalties, and whatnot. And if for whatever reason you're not able to pay what is owed to them and to the city, there is a point at which they could foreclose your right to redeem and subsequently evict you from your home. And even if the debt was, let's say, $751, the initial debt was like $751, and you weren't able to pay it and you lost your home, and the investor sold the property after the foreclosure for $50,000. By state law, you're not entitled to any of the equity. You lose it all. And so in order to stop that particular practice, which we find to be very predatory, the tax sale working group made a number of recommendations. And from those recommendations, the administration put forward to the Baltimore City delegation a series of bills that are being prosecuted in Annapolis, and they include the ability for the city to do payment plans, the ability for expansion of the notion of payment plans, and expansion of interim foreclosure, which is a particular way by which the jurisdiction can acquire and dispose of tax delinquent properties. And so there is a movement afoot to put these bills through. There are a couple other housing related bills, transfer upon death deeds, which are deeds that would allow, they're like basically a beneficiary designation. Instead of having to get a lawyer, you could simply fill out this one form and say, I want to leave my house to this person, and it would avoid probate. So there are a number of bills like that are being legislated or trying to get through the process in Annapolis. Some of them are doing better than others, but we are going to continue to push. And if anybody wants more detailed information, feel free to email me and I can bring you all up to speed.
Thanks, Nika. Appreciate you. Thanks for fighting the good fight in Annapolis for us.
I just wanted to add that the Baltimore City Health Department on March 29th will be hosting a visioning session around the development of a community prevention framework pilot for addressing the intersections of adverse childhood experiences, suicide, and overdose prevention. That event is going to be held at the CC Jackson Community Center in Park Heights at 4910 Park Heights Avenue. It will be a full day event. If you cannot stay for the full day, that's fine. If you're interested in joining us to develop this community prevention framework, we are looking for your input. So please drop in primarily around the hours of 9:30 and 12. We are welcoming everyone to be a part of this effort. And I'm going to put the flyer in the chat as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Aisha. Very much appreciate that. And thanks for doing that work and doing it with community as the center. And like I said, one more time, Healing City Summit Saturday at 10 a.m. over at Coppin. Should be a lot of fun. We've got the Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller, is going to be there, and a ton of different great organizations, several folks on this call who are doing good work. So definitely check that out and then head over to Nika's clinic. All right. So with that, anyone else have anything for the good of the order?
Yes. Hey, everybody. We have at Healing Youth Alliance, I'm not sure if Mary already said, we do have a conference next week with the youth. And it's going to be just centered like around Black mental health. So I'll drop the link in the chat and you guys can come out. It's next. It's not, it's going to be March 29th at 6:30.
Where at, Ryan? Is that online or is that in person?
Nah, it's going to be online. It's going to be a Zoom link. I'm sorry, I'm doing a million things at once right now, but it's going to be a Zoom link, and I'll drop the Zoom link in the chat. And it's going to be 6:30 to 8, and it's going to be like probably like 10 different kids that are presenting, and it's going to be like different breakout rooms. So one breakout room, it might be different from something else, but yeah, the kids are doing great things at Healing Youth Alliance, and I want everybody to kind of come out. So I'll drop the link, and it'll be the 29th.
Awesome. And look, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to build on that real quick. Sorry. But just because I know a lot of folks work in schools and different things like that, they have a really diverse array of presentations this year talking about like access for students with disabilities and one presentation, child welfare and the child welfare system and another presentation. So please come out or join the link if you can. I'm sure there's going to be a presentation that kind of speaks to you or something that you're interested in that these young folks have been working really hard on. So yeah, we'd love to see you there.
Love it. And I will just say that if you have not been to a Healing Youth Alliance conference yet, you absolutely do yourself a favor and go. They are really, really, really good. And I don't just say that. I've been around a lot of youth advocacy and organizing and different youth-led initiatives, but the Healing Youth Alliance, the stuff that they do on mental health is just awesome. And every time I go, I learn something new, and it's extremely well facilitated. It's like, I don't know, they're funny, they're touching, like they're just really good. Really, really, really good. So I would highly, highly, highly big up and recommend, like Ryan said, and Marielle, that folks check it out. All right. Anybody else? All right. So with that, I'm going to ask Franny to send folks on our merry way, and I will see you hopefully this Saturday. And if not, then sometime very soon.
Awesome. Unless Kim, I saw you unmute. You're good. Okay. Breakout rooms. Again, you'll have the ability to choose your breakout room. If you are in policy, stay here. Otherwise, you'll see the option to choose your breakout room at the bottom, I think. And if you don't, I can put you in one. So feel free to come off mute and ask me to put you in a breakout room. Oh, dang. I have to do a little switcheroo on who's in the main room because I just read my private chat. Sorry. We can hang out in here for one more second.
Hello, am the only person for
Hi. I believe you may be.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks beautiful where you are. Where are you?
I'm at the basketball court with my son.
Love it. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
All right. Well, I'll catch up with him over email so we can regroup.
Amazing. Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. You too.
Bye.
For the people who are coming back in, if you missed it, I have to switch who's in the main room. So I apologize. I'm allowed to switch it now, actually. Cool.
Couldn't stay away from everyone.
Hey,
Sorry,
everyone.
y'all. I was gonna say we came back.
I know. So I had to switch who was in the main room due to the live stream. Is it okay if I put youth in the main room? No,
So
it's
the
not.
only problem is that we're talking to
yeah.
the interviewee
True.
selection staff.
Well, it was a similar reason that I had to switch it out of policy. What about training? How do you guys feel about being in the main room?
Well, it's
You
a
feel
happy hour. It's all good.
Love it. Okay. Okay, so we'll do training in the main room and then we'll do policy, medical, and youth in the others. All right. And I think more people than usual will have to choose their breakout room this time because usually I try as I'm making them to put people in when I see them. But and again, if you're having any type of difficulties, I know some people's Zooms don't allow them to choose. So if you're not getting that option, let me know, shoot me a chat or come off mute and I will put you in the appropriate room.
Yeah,
I'm
Franny,
gonna hop around, so I'll stay here for now.
Yes,
can you put me in training?
absolutely.
We're here. Training is
Oh,
here.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Training is here.
Franny, can you put me in medical?
I can do that.
Brady's meeting at Coco's. So we're gonna
Sorry, I missed, I think someone else said my name.
Yeah, the youth group.
Got you.
Hi, Franny. It's Tyron.
Hey,
Go to the same group.
training is, you'll be staying right here.
Okay.
No, Tyron's going to youth.
Well, okay.
Youth.
I'm going to youth. I'm sorry.
I did not know that. I apologize. All right. And then anyone else?
I should definitely be in policy. Maybe Kim too, or Kim, are you're staying here in training?
Hopping around at this point.
Cool.
I'm gonna be over there soon.
Send me to policy.
I love the beard it's growing out. It looks great.
Thank you. I agree. Bye.
All right. My training people. Are we set? Are we good to go?
all is good in the world.
Awesome. Sorry about the chat room snafu.
That's okay. Wait, so David, I was just hearing what you were saying that the school changed plans and had a half day tomorrow.
Yeah, so the principal reached out and said they made it a half day, so they couldn't do the mental health first aid training. Then we talked a little bit about, well, I think it was one email about, well, is there something else we could do because it was the city's idea, what they said was because, it's a half day self-care. So I said, well, maybe we could do some half day to really hear anything back. I think mainly because they knew it was Friday and it was St. Patty's Day. They knew you're not getting much attention and you give it self-care. So there's nothing going on tomorrow.
Is it going to be rescheduled?
I don't think the next day they have is until like May. So I'm not sure if it was her or there was another school that had reached out. They were talking about like in August, because I also know the Reach School, which is, over by the old Clifton, had a student who was just shot, killed over on Harford Road.
What, Reach did?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. When did that happen?
yesterday. It was across the BP. It was right across the street, right down the road.
Oh. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that either. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so I mean, in as much as mental health first aid is great, I really think it's more grief and loss and like trauma and empowerment that people need to get through. It's like we got to deal with it, and not just grief and loss about the event of today, but the loss of power that people are feeling that came right from COVID-19 to the sense of no power around what's going on in their lives. That's what I worry about more, because then you get into these cycles of like you're stuck. And well, a larger part of the work I've been doing in Maryland and across the country is about suicide by hopelessness. When people don't believe they have a future, we just make decisions that it doesn't matter, or if we're going to have control, it's going to be about control about the moment. And because there's no, yes, if this happens, it doesn't matter because at least I'm in control now because tomorrow doesn't matter. And that's what I'm more concerned about. The mental health first aid and all that is a part of giving people that hope. It's that's why I left residential treatment and juvenile justice, is because it's always after the fact and never promoting health. So anyway, that is sort of my therapeutic diatribe.
No, we share in your passion and your grief too. I mean, at the same time, with all of us doing the work, we grieve right alongside of our youth and their families and our community. So, definitely self-care over the weekend. I just wanted to drop in and say thank you guys so much again for just your open arms and everyone welcoming me with warmth. I did see the email from this group. So just as you guys are navigating the recent shifts in the training, just let us know personally, let me know directly, like what you need from me. I know we have several different types of trainings going on. And as it relates to this one, just let me know. But I just wanted to say hello. Thank you so much for all the great work that you guys are doing. And let me know if you need anything, just however I can help.
Kimberly, before you go, this is my first time in this subcommittee. And I'm wondering if we can spend some time talking about the next agencies slated, or identify maybe the top 3 agencies on the legislative list for the trauma-informed care training, so that we can start our pre-planning and assessment. I mean, the contracting process takes a very long time, but the provider that's going to be administering this training need to do some pre-work. And so I think we need to start thinking now about what agencies we're looking at for FY24 for this training. I'm sorry, I'm new to the group, so I hope I'm not.
Yeah, no, you're perfectly fine. And those of us that have been part of the training subcommittee for a while, even when I was part of BCHD and I was new to this group as well, from just what my understanding is, we have kind of 2 different tracks with the Trauma Task Force Training Subcommittee, right? We have our community trainings, and then we also have our agency trainings that are legislated and required by the Elijah Cummings Healing City Act. So what Aisha is referring to is those agency trainings where the Baltimore City Health Department is obligated to ensure that happens. And with that, Baltimore City has been funded by the mayor's office to have a third-party contractor. And all of those things are impacted by the city's process. So we want to keep that in mind. And then we have the community side, where we also have a training group, along with general aspirations. We also have a training group that's was selected and funded by Monty through the RFP process. I remember working with Tamar on that. If I'm missing anything, please, anyone, just let me know.
The only thing I would say is, because I'm on the statewide, the in legislation, there's this sort of statewide trauma informed task force, and we've been fighting. It's like everybody wants to talk about trauma informed, but talking about trauma without what you can do about it, what you can do to prevent it, know it is traumatic in and of itself. So as you reach out and you look for a training, it doesn't matter if you know about it if you can't do anything about it. And it is a real pushback. Phil's on part of it as well. But it's painful to hear people talk about, I'm an ACE interface trainer. It's great, all this stuff to know about it. But I've actually had kids and adults say, yeah, we know what's going on in our lives, but what are we going to do about it? Knowledge is a book on a shelf, and libraries full of plenty of books, and the world is full of plenty of idiots.
Well, I'm going to hop off. I'm just going to go visit the other groups for a minute. But before I do, I just wanted to yield and say hello to one of our co-founders, Mark Jews. Mark, I don't know if you're still driving, but did you have any feedback before I hop to the next group?
No, ma'am. Awesome as usual. I will be in touch. You know that for a fact. So thank you for taking on that role. That's a yeoman's work, and we need it. So I look forward to seeing how far Highland City will go with you at the helm.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon, okay? I'll leave you to it.
What did we have?
I don't know, Mark, how you doing? We were Tamar and I were just talking about, the whole thing with Pimlico Elementary Middle had to be canceled, rescheduled because they went to a half day, Baltimore City Public Schools, and so
yeah,
we
I talked about that in the last one. We'll try to pivot, and maybe because at the end of the year, like you said last meeting, teachers probably are going to be in a drain because they'll be winding down the school year, looking at trying to do the same over the summertime for them would be, I think, a little more appropriate. But that's very unfortunate because I actually went over there Monday to go meet Corey to go chop it up a bit, but it was so much going on. I'm like, bro, 2 years, I see it's a bunch. We will get up and never again. It was like 4 potential fights. 2 of them had already happened. It was just a lot. So he does yeoman's work over there.
Yeah.
I guess one of the questions posed by, I think it was Miss Aisha, was next agency, and I don't know if we will have thoughts on that or should have input on that, but and I honestly don't know because it's just so many. What next agency interacts with the most individuals in a city, right? Like, is it the water bill department? Is it like who interacts the most next in line? Recs and Parks?
So we're doing Recs and Parks now, and we will complete that training with them in November of this year.
Okay.
So we are looking for another agency, and I can share the list that was in the legislation. And I'm just, I thought the focus was on youth serving agencies, but there are quite a few agencies that do not interface directly with youth. So perhaps it's not specifically a youth focus, but just, agencies that may be traumatizing community in general.
I thought the intention, I'm so sorry about the dog. It's loud. And Aisha, it's good to see you. I thought that Zeke had mentioned the intention of training all city agencies. So maybe, even beyond youth serving. But so far, this committee has not been selecting which agencies go when. Although we can certainly give our opinions, but I don't know if it's up to us.
Yeah, I think that maybe we can have some discussion and then share it with the larger group and get some input from them. So I'll just share my screen. What am I doing here? What's happening? Oh, there we are. Okay. So can everyone see that? These are the agencies here. So we're doing recs and parks now. We did Enoch Pratt Library last year. So these are the rest of the agencies that were listed in the legislation.
My suggestion would be MOED or Parking Authority, because God knows.
You said Parking Authority? Okay.
Parking Authority or MOED.
Okay.
Because
I would
they
like
engage
to,
with-
yeah, if we can select a third one, because I think one of the things we're going to do in the pre-planning phase is really reach out to these agencies and assess their readiness for this training. So if we can pick three, I have MOED, Parking Authority.
Department of Finance is in the ABEL building, right? They interact with a lot of different people that may be not so great moods.
Okay.
I guess I would say to you, it all matters. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
I said, to me, it would all be a matter of what the trainings are, right? Because a lot of them talk about stuff, but like, what do you do about it? How do you engage? And like practical ideas. Because, it's like the stuff that's offered to the police departments. And I had this conversation with somebody from Anne Arundel County Police. You go do a training, you do it one time, and you send people back in the communities, and you don't give them skills and follow up. If there's a difference between feeling good and doing good. And that's the thing. And that's part of that training. What does it include? What does it talk about? Like, you can't just talk about kids and you're coming in with your own trauma, right? And how does that play into it? Because a lot of times, and that's what we're fighting with the state level, which is a legislation that all the state agencies, and we're like, well, great, we're talking about how to serve people. I'm like, yeah, but half or more of the people who work in the agencies are stressed, overwhelmed, and traumatic. So if you're telling me to talk about helping someone else and I haven't dealt with my stuff, then it's just not there. And I think that's, it's great ideas, but the execution is different. And then what do you want your outcomes to be? Is to know or to do?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can just share with you the contractor that we have is Sage Wellness Group, and Dominique Clifton, I believe, has been on this training subcommittee. So she is one of the training facilitators for that. So they start the training with a training 101. And then they go into training with executive leadership and then staff leadership. And then they do a deeper dive with all three cohorts, executive staff. So and then they talk about vicarious trauma and self-care techniques, but they really tailored the training to the needs of the agency. And that assessment phase is really an opportunity to get feedback from the agencies about the things that they are experiencing that has been traumatic to the staff. But also, how are they treating community residents who are trying to access the services? Like, what are their policies and procedures and practices? So the deeper dive really goes into really applying the skills that they should be acquiring from the training and putting that into practice, and that being reflected in their policies and practices.
I will leave it at that. I just see too many trainings that talk about what I know and not what I do.
Okay.
I work in education. The schools spend tens of millions of dollars on these evidence-based practices and nothing changes.
Bingo.
But, I mean, the other thing is, like, it's response driven. The question is, what are you doing to promote what is going well? Because kids need to, and if you're looking from addiction standpoint, whether it's substance abuse, alcohol, whatever, you can't take anything away without replacing it. So you tell kids about trauma, whatever. What are they modeling? Who do they want to look like in their own community, not just on TV or whatever? So, but let me just stick to the agenda, because that's what's important. I mean, the other people that they, and I don't see it on here, but law enforcement, I mean, the people that they engage with every day are the most important.
Law enforcement is a state agency. That's probably why they're not.
Yeah, that's exactly true. That's why they're not listed, nor is Baltimore.
BCPD?
Yeah.
Yeah, they only BCPD in name. They're the state is actually in charge of BCPD, as well as, if correct me if I'm wrong, but school education as well. I mean, Department of Education.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yeah.
I mean,
but I
That's a
will
whole nother can of.
there is some training going on right now with BPD that's being facilitated by ROCA under the Rewire 4 initiative. So I know that that's focused around CBT, but I think there's an opportunity, or at least one of the outcomes for that training is really improving youth and police relations. So we'll see. That's been a pretty extensive training. It's been going on for several weeks already, and it's still going on now as we speak. And I think it's also in alignment with one of the deliverables of the consent decree. Okay, so we have MOED, Parking Authority. Any thoughts about a third agency, perhaps? Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice is no longer, so I guess, are we replacing that with MONSI? Because that's the office that was formerly the Office of Criminal Justice.
I guess how much direct contact do they have? You might want to.
Yeah. Well, they have quite a few programs now with this CVI ecosystem where they are having a lot more direct contact than the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice have ever had with community and with youth. So yeah, that interaction is increasing with the streamlining of the victim services program now under MONSI, and their youth diversion program.
Since we're coming up on the summer, is Parks and Rec's the one who oversees like all the camps and the stuff?
Yes.
It would be huge if they could engage with the camps and summer programming.
Yeah, well, that's actually why the training is going through November, because they have to break for summer programming. So they will be engaged in the training through May, and then they'll break for summer programming and then resume in September through November.
I think MONSI is a good one, actually. No, I'm sorry, my dog is protective as per usual. No, I think MONSI is a great one because, like you said, they do have a lot of engagement with the public as well, and they're creating more programming to engage even that much more with the public. So, but I'm thinking, wouldn't they already have had? Well, maybe they wouldn't have already had that training, but I would assume they would have already had that training, right? Like they should. They really taking engagement. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I'm not so sure. I'm sure probably some of the staff has had training, but as you know, that's a newly formed office and they're still onboarding new staff that may have not received any of the trauma-informed care training if they participated at all at the very beginning. And like I say, it wasn't facilitated by Sage Wellness or BCHD, so maybe it was another agency if they engaged at all.
That's all. I would definitely go vote for them.
Okay.
But again, I got to be the top three I'm picking. It can be anybody else may have thoughts on certain things. And finance is, and so they engage, right? Because that's where you go get your tickets. That's the Department of Finance.
I'm sorry, say that again. You were breaking up. Department of Finance, you wanted to add to the list of potential FY24 agencies?
Yeah, because that's where you go pay your tickets, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they have to engage with some people who are not in the greatest of moods. I had fun with them. I just pay my tickets in nickels.
Yeah.
The director actually came out one time and was like, "Sir, my people aren't the people who gave you the tickets. Why are you paying them in nickels to us? We got to count all these nickels up." So I try to, because of her, not do that any longer. But I know it's people in there that are in some not so great moods on a daily basis.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a pretty good list, and we'll start making our contacts, and hopefully we'll be able to report back to this subcommittee which agency has committed and is slated for training implementation starting in December, January 2024. Thank you.
All righty, thank you.
I'll stop sharing.
So is there anything else we need to cover tonight or no?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot in the last several meetings. But since we are live, I think we gotta hold it down until everyone comes back. No.
Yeah, I know. I can tell you one thing we're going to do. We're going to take the funding we have and work create saturation. We're going to pick a place, whether it's East Baltimore or whatever, and try and train close to anywhere between 500 and 2,000 people, providing mental health first aid and trauma-informed care, communities, faith-based community, around schools, HBCU. It'll be based from an HBCU, and then see the impact so that people feel like it's not just experts, but your neighbors, your church, synagogue, mosque, to reduce stigma and promote prevention and not just response.
Oh, that's great. Can you share info on that?
Yeah, we're just gonna pick a place. We're probably gonna. I went to, my parents taught in Oregon. I went to Coppin for grad school, so I got to pick which east side or west side, which partner we'll work with. Because did training for trained the trainers in both of the schools. So whoever wants to partner, we're going to go with them and start probably in late spring, and then just have a huge effort and just sort of market that. And like I said, in a certain neighborhood or community, the goal is probably somewhere between 30 and 40% of the population to get trained. And what we'd like to do is not just do training, but I've talked to Baltimore Connect, which is a organization of community-based organizations that have them. So we do, as we talk about what resources the community support, mental, somatic, and other types of health, is that we'd do warm handoffs. They would be there either like at the trainings, or there would be somebody who would step in. So we're not just talking about them, but able to introduce them to members of the CVO and hand them off. So people need something, they're not like, oh, that's a great idea, I'll reach out. No, here's somebody you can talk to, which makes it much more likely for them to connect than if I give you a number or a website to call.
Question, Dave, do you all do training with Baltimore Core and their cohorts?
Baltimore Core, I think we did some a while ago. Like I said, we go anywhere, do anything. Lately, it's been a lot in East Baltimore that we did St. Vincent de Paul and their program on the west side. But I mean, we also do outside the state as well. But because I grew up on the east side, my focus is, let me do something where I grew up, where my heart is, and then, connect with Baltimore Connect and some other agencies as well.
Okay.
You tell me where the need is, we will make it happen. It's not a matter of if, but how.
I asked because I know they have a cohort right now that's about to begin in April. And we have some young people who are, well, not just young people, who are going through that cohort and are able to, and they need trainings and things. I can connect you to Miss Annette. I'm gonna email you her on them.
Let me know, because we're talking to even for the youth specifically, like Patterson High School, after they had 2 youth who were John Killen over there, I just had a conversation with the principal there about bringing team mental health first aid in, which is for the youth, not about adults with them. And so that would become, team mental health first aid for the youth, which would also, in parallel, we do youth mental health first aid for the adults. But again, that's the whole idea that it's not just, top-down experts. It's about people every day supporting each other and having someone to turn to. So yeah, if you got a youth group, we could do a youth group. Adults, whomever.
Is there a minimum number of people? Like, okay, we need to make sure it's 10 in this cohort or 20. Like, what's the?
So for the adults, it's 5. Depending for the youth programs, you want just about all the youth in the program. They can opt out, but you have to offer it to all the youth.
Okay.
Either the youth or the parents can opt out, but it has to be an active opt out. It can't be like, we're not going
to
invite them.
Okay. Mine's percolating because one of my mentees has a clothing store here that is doing extremely well. And he has a barbershop right next to it as well. And what we're doing, we created a wellness program along with them, utilizing his platform for his clothing brand, because everybody, not just in Baltimore, but people around the country love it. So to help destigmatize mental well-being, I was actually meeting with him today. So he has his barbers and beauticians are getting trained by us with mental health, but that's another added bonus because it's like,
well, we might be doing that because we're working with the Office of Suicide Prevention from the state. And I know they're sponsoring some mental health first aid for barbershops and hair salons.
Okay.
And that'll be between, I think, July and August.
Okay.
And they're sponsoring some other stuff. And that's been a big push in the hair salons, barbershops, libraries. It's just like we said, people want to get help, but they don't want to go to get help. They want to help where they go. They want to talk to people where you already trust people. If I got to go somewhere, that just adds another barrier. It's not always a matter of is it available, but whether it's accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
David, what is the name of your organization?
So I work for 2, Echo Resource Development, and that's mine. And then I work for, this one's really long, Central East Mental Health Technology Transfer Center. That's funded by SAMHSA.
Okay.
And we provide training and technical assistance to states and school. Here, I'll put in.
So I might want to reach out to you because we are currently bringing on about 10 youth ambassadors that will serve as peer educators to middle and high school students. And we want them trained on the teen mental health first aid. So I'm really interested in seeing if your organization can provide that training to our youth group.
Yeah, so we're having a conversation with Banner Neighborhoods. They have 24 youth who want to do it as well.
Okay.
And
so you might want to combine the groups, or
we could if they could do it at the same time, but we could talk about doing it separately. It's just they have to do it as a group. It can't be like one off,
right
thing.
Yeah.
And here I put the 2 organizations, my contact information in the chat room.
Perfect. Thank you.
But there are other reasons we can bring them there. That's particularly through Central East, because all that we hire and pay for like subject matter experts. And we're providing training, technical assistance to Department of Education, Office of Suicide Prevention, Baltimore City Public Schools.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my dog is really freaking out and I think I need to take him out. Do you mind if I leave a little bit early?
Oh, you're good.
All right. It's really good to see all of you. And I will, look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Have a good evening, everyone.
Take it easy, walk that doggy. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you.
Who is the 32410-323? Who is that?
Not sure. They've been on for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a community member. It's just possible. I just was wondering if it was somebody, if it might have been Corey or somebody else. So are we able to yield the time back or no? I mean, we've covered what we needed to cover.
We could always exit, right?
I mean, we can. I don't want Franny coming through my email in all caps. You know what them all caps mean, Ms. Burgess. Them all caps with them exclamation points. Like, whoa. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute.
We step out of here, then we go back and then leave. So
right.
So get a little of your evening back. I'm gonna step out, so you can blame it on me.
Okay,
Anything I can do, you know, I'm here for everybody.
Okay.
I appreciate you all.
All righty.
Fourth Monday of the week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Take it easy.
Take care.
Okay. I'm stepping out too, Ms. Burgess.
You too. Bye bye.
All right.